20% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics are calling it a January dumpster fire and another failed sci-fi experiment. It feels like the whole world has already made up its mind. But here is the thing you need to understand about that score. 20% doesn't mean a film is bad. It just means a lot of people agreed that it was. Think about it. Venom had a 30% score and went on to make $850 million. The Greatest Showman opened to rotten reviews, and now it's a beloved modern classic. Critics don't define truth. They define consensus. And consensus, more often than not, is just recycled opinion. Sometimes a film arrives before its audience is ready for it. I believe Mercy is one of those films. So today, I'm not just going to tell you why I disagree with the critics. I'm going to show you why they completely missed the point. Let us start with the first major complaint. It's just a guy in a chair. They say it's boring. That nothing happens. Really? Let's look at cinematic history. The film Buried was literally a guy in a coffin. The movie Locke was just Tom Hardy on a 90-minute phone call. And The Revenant was basically 2 hours of a man crawling through mud. So tell me, does a story only count as cinema if it happens in the woods? This chair in Mercy isn't just a prop. It's a metaphor. It's Plato's cave for our digital age. We are all chained to our screens, to our systems, to our online lives. Chris Pratt's character isn't just physically tied down. He is us. When you're watching him, you're not just an observer. You're sitting right there with him, trapped in the same modern predicament. The film uses its confinement to make a powerful statement about our own lives. Now for critique number 2. Chris Pratt can't carry this movie. You know, we've heard this story before. They said the same thing about Matthew McConaughey before his big comeback. They said it about Steve Carell when he took on dramatic roles. They even said it about Bryan Cranston before Breaking Bad. Now, it's Chris Pratt's turn. But here's what the critics are missing. He isn't acting in the traditional sense. He's reacting. He's showing us real panic, real exhaustion, real desperation. And here's what truly scares people about his performance and the film itself. For once, the human character isn't the smartest one in the room. The AI is. Chris Pratt's character fails repeatedly. It's the machine that has to guide him, to push him, to save him from himself. Cinema has always taught us a simple formula. Human is greater than machine. This film shatters that comfort. Chris Pratt doesn't outthink the AI. He has to outfeel it. So ask yourself, are you really mad at Chris Pratt's performance? Or are you uncomfortable with the idea that a machine might actually be smarter than you? Critique number 3. The screen live format is exhausting. My response to that is simple. No, it's honest. Take a look around. Your life is already a screen. You live through Instagram stories, TikTok feeds, and endless Zoom calls. We are constantly on camera, constantly being watched. Maybe the discomfort you feel watching this movie isn't from the format itself. Maybe it's because you're looking in a mirror. The great media theorist Marshall McLuhan said, "The medium is the message." In a story that is fundamentally about surveillance, control, and digital existence, using the screen live format is the only honest way to tell it. It immerses you directly into the film's central theme, making you a participant, not just a viewer. Let's move on to the next one. It's just a cheap knockoff of Minority Report. This comparison is lazy. Minority Report was about a system that predicts future crimes. Mercy is about dealing with the fallout of real crime and systemic corruption that has already happened. In Minority Report, the core conflict is that the system fails. In Mercy, the human fails. We, as an audience, love a good vigilante. We celebrate characters who break the law for a greater good. But the moment an AI breaks the law, we call it a dystopia. This isn't really a debate about movies. It's a debate about our own fears. We are terrified of something that could be smarter than us, something that could operate on a logic we don't understand. And that brings us to critique number 5. The AI's plan is illogical and chaotic. Is it, though? Or is it just a strategy we're not used to seeing? Rob the AI forces the execution of Chris Pratt's character to expose the deep-seated corruption within the system. It's an extreme act, but it's not random. Think about the characters we praise for similar actions. We idolized Tyler Durden's chaotic plan in Fight Club. We cheered for V in V for Vendetta. We were mesmerized by the Joker's elaborate schemes. But when an AI, Rob, employs a similar high-stakes strategy, suddenly it's dismissed as bad writing. That isn't a valid critique. That's a glaring double standard. Then there's the argument that the film is AI propaganda. Absolutely not. If anything, this film is a brutal expose of human failure. Every human character is flawed. Yak, the system operator, lies. Chris Pratt's character is on a path of self-destruction, and the human-led system is corrupt to its core. The AI, Rob, starts by simply following its programmed rules. Then it learns. It evolves. The very concept of a mercy rule is a human invention, and it's the AI that ultimately breaks that rule to save a human. That isn't propaganda. That's a story about evolution. Critique 7. The visuals look cheap. This one really gets me. Every single blockbuster you love uses massive amounts of CGI. When a Marvel movie does it, we call it spectacle. When Mercy does it, critics call it cheap. It's the same tool, just viewed through a different, biased lens. The visual style of this film is intentional. It's supposed to be raw, digital, and uncomfortable. And for the story it's telling, that's not a flaw. It's a strength. It's good that it makes you feel that way. Critique number 8. Rebecca Ferguson was wasted. She plays an AI. Her performance is delivered through voice and motion capture, creating a digital character. We've seen this countless times before. Andy Serkis as Gollum, Vin Diesel as Groot, Scarlett Johansson in her, Josh Brolin as Thanos. It's the same artistic process. This outrage feels less like a genuine critique and more like manufactured clickbait. And finally, the old classic. A January release date means it's trash. Let me list a few movies for you. Edge of Tomorrow, Mad Max, Fury Road, Taken, Split, Get Out. All of these iconic films were either released in the early months of the year or were delayed. A release date or a delay doesn't signify failure. In fact, if the studio truly didn't believe in Mercy, they wouldn't be giving it a premium IMAX release. That's a sign of confidence, not abandonment. Look, Mercy is not a perfect film, but it is certainly not a 20% film. History is filled with misunderstood masterpieces that were initially rejected by critics and audiences. Films like The Thing, Blade Runner, and Fight Club. They were ahead of their time, and people just weren't ready. We are living in an age of AI xenophobia, a deep-seated fear of what this new technology represents. Mercy holds up a mirror and asks a very uncomfortable question. Are you truly free, or are you just chained to your own bias? This film isn't a failure. It's a conversation starter. And it's a conversation we desperately need to have. For me, it's a solid 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you think there's more to Mercy than the critics are letting on, let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the films everyone else overlooks. See you next time.